the Compliance Kitchen. Today, let's take a look at a recent DOJ press release. This is in regards to a DPA, or a deferred prosecution agreement, that was entered into by the CFO of Huawei Technologies Company Limited, or Huawei. This was to resolve fraud charges by the U.S. government against the CFO. So the press release tells us that Ms. Wangzu Meng entered into this DPA, and that this shows her taking responsibility for her principal role in perpetrating a scheme to defraud a global financial institution. According to the DOJ, Ms. Meng admitted in the statement of facts that while she was acting as the CFO for Huawei, she made multiple material misrepresentations to a senior executive of a financial institution in regards to Huawei's business operations in Iran, in an effort to preserve Huawei's banking relationship with this financial institution. And the DOJ tells us that had she disclosed Huawei's business in Iran to this financial institution, this would have been important in their decision whether to continue its banking relationship with Huawei. The DPA will also lead to the end of an ongoing extradition proceeding in Canada, where the U.S. government was trying to get Ms. Meng extradited to the U.S. However, the DOJ's prosecution team will continue to prepare for trial against the company itself, against Huawei. So a little bit more detail on what happened. The press release tells us that Skycom Tech Company Ltd, or Skycom, was a Hong Kong company that primarily operated in Iran. As of 2007, Skycom was wholly owned by a subsidiary of Huawei, Huaying Management, or Huaying. And the same year, in November of 2007, Huaying transferred its shares of Skycom to another entity controlled by Huawei, Canicula Holdings, or Canicula. So far the transaction is all happening within the Huawei corporate family, right? All these entities are wholly owned or controlled by Huawei. And at the time of the transfer, Ms. Meng was the secretary of Huaying, which is the transferring entity, right? That's the company that's transferring the shares of Skycom to Canicula Holdings. During the relevant time period, Huawei controlled Skycom's business operations in Iran. And again, Skycom was owned by an entity that was controlled by Huawei. All significant Skycom business decisions were made by Huawei. The government gives us an example here where the Huawei employees engaged a UK staffing company to provide engineers in Iran to support Skycom's work there, and to pay for these contractors a payment of approximately $7.5 million was sent to the UK company's bank account in the UK from Skycom's bank in Asia. And the transaction, as we said, was denominated in US dollars, right? 7.5 million approximately. And it cleared through the US banking system. So the government, this is where they got nexus, right? This is one example how the US law can attach, even if the business is happening outside of the US and the entities are not US entities. And let's say you don't even have US employees there, but because you are making a transaction in US dollars and it's clearing through the US financial system, the US law can attach. So when the press questioned Huawei about Skycom's Iran activities in 2012, 2013, Huawei claimed that Skycom was one of its major local partners in Iran. They didn't say this was a related entity. They said it was a local partner, and that Huawei's business is within the bounds of the applicable laws and regulations. There was an article in 2013 from Reuters. They reported that Ms. Meng previously served on the board of Skycom and identified other connections between Skycom and Huawei. Again, Huawei was quoted as saying that the relationship between Skycom and Huawei is a normal business relationship. They said that Huawei has a trade compliance system which is in line with industry best practices, and their business in Iran is in full compliance with all applicable laws and regulations, including those of the UN. The Huawei also said we require our partners such as Skycom to make the same commitments. Now, as the press release, the DOJ press release points out, this was not a truthful statement because Huawei controlled Skycom, right? Skycom was not a Huawei's business partner. They were actually owned by Huawei. So the release goes on to explain that after these news articles came out, the banking institutions that were dealing with Huawei inquired about this, and according to the release, Huawei employees maintained that Skycom was just a local business partner again of Huawei in Iran, and that Skycom had not conducted Iran-related transactions using its accounts at the financial institutions that were inquiring as to these news. Ms. Meng then met with an executive of a bank responsible for operations in the APAC region and stated that Huawei's relationship with Skycom was again normal business cooperation, and she described Skycom as a partner of Huawei and a third party that Huawei works with in Iran. So they continue to maintain this notion that Skycom is not related to the Huawei corporate family, right, and owned by Huawei. So as the press release, DOJ tells us, this is also untrue because, as Ms. Meng knew, Skycom was not a business partner. Instead, Huawei controlled Skycom, and Skycom employees were really Huawei employees. And again, this would have been material to disclose to the financial institution so that they can decide if they want to continue to support Huawei. In addition, Ms. Meng stated that Huawei was once a shareholder of Skycom, but sold all its shares in Skycom. Again, this was not true because, as she knew, Huawei had, quote-unquote, sold its shares to an entity that Huawei controlled, right? So you're just moving it around within the same corporate family. The control is still coming from Huawei. It would have been, again, material for the financial institution to know this. So relying on the information they did receive from Ms. Meng and from Huawei, the financial institutions provided prohibited services, including banking, for Huawei's Iran-based business, while Huawei was concealing the link between Huawei and Skycom. Of course, this was in violation of OFAC's Iranian transactions and sanctions regulations. Approximately $100 million went through, cleared through the U.S. banking system, and at least some of these funds were in support of Huawei's Iranian activities. So this is a little bit longer summary than usual, but if you guys want to take a look at the press release and the DPA itself, I have links ready for you on compliancekitchen.com.